Well, hello, everybody. My name's Tom Wrigley. I'll be your TA for this class. So this is P-Stat 130, and we'll be going over SAS. So this video is kind of just an introduction of what we should be going over this week, some helpful hints, maybe some helpful things that could help you with the homework or quizzes, and pretty much getting you started with coding. So I know not everyone can show up to section, or maybe they can't. I hope everyone can. But if you can't, try to go through the exercises I'm doing here on your own, and then show up in section if you need help. Otherwise, just do the best you can. The best way to learn to code in SAS is to code in SAS. Of course, that may sound surprising, but as you guys know, my section times are, or I hope you guys know because you guys are in my section, are either Monday at 5 and Thursday at 8. So those are my two section times. And as you guys can see, that the comment on SAS is this backslash star backslash, and this is a multi-line comment. So I can do multiple lines of comment and I'll still be able to have code below. And you can tell it's a comment because it's in green, or well, that's my settings, and that's the baseline settings. So getting forward, I'm just going to go over some basic data frames. So we know that to start a data frame, we just kind of need to use the data statement and then the name we're going to use our data frame for. So we'll do DB section 1 for the first section we have, and then of course DB for database. And then now we're going to do what we need to input. So we'll have input. I'm going to make this be my name, and we know a name is of character, so I'll have 8 0, so it means I'll allocate at least 8 locations for my name. And then I'll also have my age, and that will be a number. So we know that'll be 2 characters unless you're 100. So we also allow people who are 100 to input their age. Then we also have a random number we'll ask for, which is going to be 2 digits. And then we're going to ask for a cost, or let's say the amount of cost of the time I feel what cost to put this into. And that will be 2 digits with 2 decimal places, we'll say. Now, as you guys have seen, there's 2 different things we could put here. I like to use data lines, but you could also use, I believe it is cards you guys use in class, or that is on the first section material. So cards, and of course, we need to make sure every statement needs to end in this semicolon, because that shows that it's an input. So if we have a semicolon here, it means that's one section. And then we're going to have our, well, I guess the material we want to put in there. We could, of course, use data lines or cards. So we know my name is Tom. I am 22 years old. A number that's 2 digits, we'll use 22 again. And we'll have the cost be 22.22. So now that we've finished that, semicolon, and of course, to make sure that the code knows how to run, we will have to add our run. And we see, here we go, we have Tom, age 22, cost 22.22. So that's good. Now let's see if we change this around. We add a 3 here, and then add a couple 3s here. Let's see if everything still stays the same based on the numbers we put up there. And we see that our age increases, and so does our cost. So that does increase, even though we do have the decimal place here, and we do only allow, we allow 3. So I'll add a 4th one just to double check that. So there you go, 4th one, it still shows up. So there you go. So now let's go on to another thing, and kind of similar to what you guys are going to do is importing a frame. So I have uploaded something called cars.txt to my file. So I will do that here. So data cars, that's what I want to save it as and use it as. So I'm going to use in file, and then the location of this cars. So I will have to copy and paste this. in quotes. Then I have to input. Now we want to see what will my input values be. So up here we had my name, which is the name here, my age, a random number, and then some cost that I feel would be the cost. So here we have our in file. So our inputs, we have to see what our cars.txt is. We have the car manufacturer, the type of car, the location of the car, and then the amount of cylinders. So we see the first three are characters. So first, let's do this without adding the $sign like we did up here, see if it has any difference. So it'll be the manufacturer. So we'll just do manu, and we'll give it 8. And then it was the type of car, like SUV, sedan, and we'll also just give that 8. And then we'll add the $sign this one, because we know it's a character. And then we had the location of the car, so location. That was also a character. It was Asia, Europe, America. And then the last one was the amount of cylinders the car had. We know that was numerical, and usually I think the highest car I know is has 12 cylinders, but most cars are 4, 6, or 8. So we'll just do 1. And then we could just do run, I believe. That should work. Let's see. There you go. So we have our cylinders, location type, but all the manufacturing locations are just a dot. So as we have known in section and in class, I mean, as you guys have seen in class, that if we have a dot here, that means our input value is blank for our characteristic value. Now, if this was a numeric value, like we do have our cylinders, it would just be a blank value instead of our dot or the period. So that shows us that we need to go back to code, change this to a $sign, and then running it again, we see that everything shows up and we are good. So now let's say I only want to see the first, apologize, wrong thing. So I only want to see the first couple. So I could have data, the first 10 observations, let's see. So I'll have data, cars. We will just copy and paste this. And so in file, we have our in file here. So I'll have my first observations. Now, as you guys can see, SAS is helping me a little bit with my first observations. And then I'll have my obs. That'll be 10. So that'll tell me my first observation is the first one. And then I'll have 10 observations I want to see. And of course, everything else is the same. So this should run. And yep, and we see that we only have 10 observations. And we see that number 8 is Audi. So let's go back to this and see if that cuts off and where it starts, just to double check. So running the other code that doesn't have cutoff 10, we see that number 8 is still Audi, so that they are the same. So as you guys can see, this is one way to import a file into your data frame. Of course, make sure it is in your folder. If you guys can see my cursor on the left, that right now it is in one of my folders that I've uploaded and connected to the VirtualBox. If you haven't done that, follow the instructions that the professor has uploaded. That is very important. But this is kind of a little basic overview of what we'll be going over in section. I hope to see you guys there. And of course, I've heard from some students that a section worksheet has been uploaded. So I believe this in file will help you with that too. So thank you guys. I hope to see you Monday or in office hours as needed.